The research team of Justin Hulbert and Michael Greenberg from Bard College wants us to know whether it's possible to hack your brain using mindfulness meditation to strengthen self-control and autonomy. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Greenberg.
Thank you all for being here tonight. So I'd like to ask you all to please raise your hand if you have ever been in the midst of a perfectly enjoyable conversation and yet you are still not quite able to stop yourself from checking your phone when you got a notification. Yeah, I knew I wasn't the only rude one in the house tonight. I am, of course, just kidding. I know that in the moment, such an act might be interpreted as rude or perhaps insensitive, but it's just so automatic. And that's kind of the point, right? In reality, both the thought to grab my phone and the act of grabbing my phone are just two of countless automatic responses that over time have been reinforced to the point of becoming automatic. And we have all kinds of these responses, and of course they are not all bad. For example, hitting the gas pedal when a traffic light turns green. The issue with developing automatized responses is not that they cannot be helpful. It's that they can be hard to overcome when circumstances change. Hitting the gas pedal at a green light may not be the best idea when another car runs through a red light. I'm sure we have all heard the horrific but true stories of sometimes fatal car accidents being caused by someone checking a text message. And these anecdotes can make us feel powerless. But what if I were to tell you that we have the ability to develop better, more flexible control over our thoughts and behaviors? And what if I told you that the ability to do this has been within you the entire time? I don't mean to sound like the uncle of a superhero, but I do want to invite you to spend the next few minutes getting curious about the potential of developing a more sensitive connection between the contents of our conscious awareness and our responses to those contents. What I'm referring to is conscious control, the term the scientific community uses for our ability to inhibit a habitual behavior or thought in response to a stimulus. So it's great that we have this, but can we improve it? So, can we improve it? Research suggests that, in fact, we can. And life offers many natural opportunities to do so. Consider someone who has just been through a trauma, perhaps a natural disaster or the loss of a loved one. Reminders of these can cause uncontrollable flashbacks and loss of physical control. And psychological trauma is far more widespread than many people realize, affecting up to 84% of my peers in the undergraduate college population alone. And while 7 to 8% of people do go on to develop persistent PTSD in the wake of these experiences, fortunately, most do recover. And in fact, work out of our research group has provided suggestive evidence that learning to cope with these reminders may actually measurably build resilience. Fortunately, practice need not be traumatic to be effective. So take heart, because I am here to discuss a more positive method for developing conscious control abilities. And speaking of hearts, allow me to introduce you to yours. Or rather, allow me to introduce you to your heart rate variability. It looks something like this. Heart rate variability is, in essence, a measure of your heart's sensitivity to the external environment. The extent to which your beat-to-beat heart rate varies in response to different stimuli. And heart rate variability has been linked to all kinds of positive physical and mental health outcomes, including improved conscious control. That's right, it's looking like the sensitivity of our brains might have something to do with the sensitivity of our hearts. And there are a number of techniques which have been identified for producing reliable changes in heart rate variability. These include low-intensity aerobic training, eating a Mediterranean diet, or taking cold showers. Fortunately, we are interested in a more accessible method that does not require a masochistic morning routine. Mindfulness has been having quite the moment in our culture. And at this point, it can be very easy to roll our eyes and dismiss it as a fad. But it is important to remember that underneath all of the mass marketing is an evidence-backed technique for improving all manner of markers of well-being, including heart rate variability. And this brings us to the specific research question being posed by the undergraduates in our lab. Do the effects of mindfulness meditation on heart rate variability lead to improvements in conscious control? To test this, we will recruit people who have no experience with meditation for a double-blind, randomized controlled trial, considered to be the gold standard for testing the effectiveness of interventions. In accordance, we will randomly assign participants to one of 3 conditions in which they will be asked to follow a 30-day guided audio training program delivered online. Participants in one condition will listen to a mindfulness meditation training program 2 times per day for 10 minutes each time. Participants in the other 2 conditions will similarly be led to believe that they had been assigned to the same meditation condition. Their audio programs, however, while matched in many ways to the experimental mindfulness condition, will instead focus on meditating in ways that do not engage mindfulness. To be specific, either probing their stream of consciousness or listening to relaxing nature sounds. Before and after these interventions, participants will be invited into the lab for a set of widely used and validated tests, which can detect changes in both conscious control and heart rate variability. We hypothesize that at the end of the training period, participants in the mindfulness condition will display increases in conscious control, and that these changes will be explained, or that is, mediated by changes in heart rate variability. Such findings could mean something as simple as being able to resist the urge to check your phone when you receive a notification. But for countless others, either living with or predisposed to control abilities, or those living in particularly volatile circumstances, such findings could pump new hope for a brighter future through their hearts and into their minds. So tonight, we ask you all to mind your hearts and help us make this proposal a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Michael Greenberg, thank you.